Hey there guys, and welcome to Tech Engineered. Today we're going to be doing a build log, so come and join me for the ride as we build a new workstation computer. This computer's name is going to be Athena because it is going to be based off of two previous workstations that I built, Mars and Ares, and these workstations are designed to run AutoCAD and AutoCAD type softwares for 3D modeling, and more specifically to design cabinets and to render them out to be ran and kind of auto-sawed out, I guess is what you'd call it. It's an auto-saw, so they essentially need to render out these AutoCAD files to where they can be put to a saw that can cut out the cabinets. And this is used kind of in a manufacturing setting. These are X99 workstations with 5820Ks and K4200 Quadro graphics cards, but they needed a new computer, so we're going to give them a kind of hardware upgrade in this computer and not make this one totally the same as the previous two computers. So this computer is going to have a Intel i7 Core 6800K. It's going to have 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM running at just the DDR base speed of 2133. And it is going to have a Quadro M4000. This computer will also be running all of this off of a X99 Micro 2 from EVGA, and it is all going to be in a Corsair 450D case, a nice mid-tower case with plenty of dust filtration. Since this is going to be in a woodworking shop, it needs to be able to filter dust, so it has a nice removable front air filter and just air filters all around, even on top of the case, so that'll work out really well. And that's what the two previous computers are built in, and they love those cases, so we're going with that again. It's going to have a 650 watt power supply from Corsair, and yeah, that's basically it for the parts. And this computer will be running Windows 7 Professional. The owner of this computer does not want 10 on it, they want to stick with 7, which I can totally understand, so that's what we're sticking with. And I got Professional on sale on Newegg, and that was actually the only version of 7 that I could get, so that's what this computer has. Let's go ahead and go over to the workbench and get started on this build. The main problem that I faced with this build was actually the motherboard standoffs. You probably saw me put the motherboard in multiple times because the motherboard standoff holes aren't clearly marked for micro ATX motherboards. And some of them are, they have an M by them. They either have an A for ATX or an M for micro ATX, but some of them that I needed weren't marked for micro ATX. So I kind of just had to put the motherboard in, swap around some of the standoffs and get it to where the standoffs lined up with the holes on the motherboard. That I didn't like about the case, but the case does come with just standard ATX layout in it when you pull it out of the box. You just have to rearrange it for micro ATX or any other form factor. The Hyper 212 was an easy cooler to install. Overall, I think this build went very well, and I think it is a very well designed computer, and I really enjoyed the cable management that I was able to do with it. I think the cable runs look really nice and really clean, and this power supply is a big improvement over the last generation of this power supply, which is in the old machines, where it had ketchup and mustard cables and stuff, but the new version of this power supply actually has black cables, which is very nice and makes the build look a whole lot better. Here is some footage of the finished build. I hope you enjoy this montage, but here is the final computer. Now I know some of you guys are going to want to know a little bit more about this computer, so I'm going to include this in the end of this video here. I was able to achieve a 4 GHz overclock on the processor without overvolting. I did not want to overvolt, and I could go a little bit higher than that if I wanted to, but I wanted to leave it at 4 just because that's a nice conservative overclock for that processor, and it just runs fine, and I don't want this computer to have any stability issues because it is a workstation and it needs to do work. In a gaming computer and stuff, it's okay to get a little bit more liberal with your overclocking and maybe have some instability because you can fine-tune it, but a workstation, you need it to work all the time and not have any downtime. We got up to 56 degrees Celsius max on the processor with that Hyper 212 Evo on there. So it's still a very cool running processor, even at that overclock, and the graphics card got up to about 52 degrees Celsius, I think, when I stress tested it, so very cool there. Also, the case is very optimized for airflow, and those two 140mm fans in the front and the one 120 in the back, plus the power supply, all ventilating that air through the case really helps cool things down. Also, the power supply is flipped upward so that it doesn't draw from the bottom, and that's just a dust concern. This case and computer has to be able to withstand a lot of dust. in its environment, so that had to go into account when building the system. And generally when I build systems for other people, I don't know where they're going to place it, so I always mount the power supply up, just because that just helps prevent problems with the system, because if you choke out a power supply, it's going to overheat and it's going to be really bad. So if you mount it upward in the case, it draws from the case, which adds another exhaust fan and also will just prevent that choking. Things might run a little bit hotter, but it's still better. In my own system, I mount it downward because I know I'm going to have it on a desk and it's going to be cooler that way. But yeah, just to prevent issues with where the case is set. If you set it out on carpet, it could choke it. Just mounting it up is a good idea if it's not your own system and you don't know what the person's going to be using it for. But overall, I think this build went very smoothly, and this computer is a very fast workstation and will be able to do a lot of work. I know that a lot of YouTubers don't make workstation build logs like this. It's all gaming computers and stuff, so I hope that you guys enjoyed something a little bit different than gaming workstations and whatnot, because this computer is not meant for gaming at all. It is a workstation computer, and that is the purpose that it will serve. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and leave a like on it. If you like the content on this channel, go ahead and subscribe, and if you have advice for future content that I can make, go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next video.